Alrighty. Hello, everyone. This review is going to be on Roll20. This is another very useful website for people who want to do D&D things of the like. This website is for playing D&D online with people, per se. If you don't have the ability to get all your friends together or something like that and all sit at a table, think of this as your online table. What this does is you'll make an account, and either you or your friend or whoever's going to be running the campaign can make a campaign. I'm going to be using this test game just for the review's purpose. So, with this website, you can do a lot of things in the sense of this is your game board. This keeps track of where your character is going to be in the game, and your experience is going to vary depending on who is running the campaign. What I mean by this is, if your DM gets really creative and spends a lot of time on the map creation, then your experience is going to be a lot better from a person who throws pieces on the boards randomly. So with this, we're going to go into the test game, and let's see what it's about. This video isn't going to be very long, because there's not a lot to cover, and if anything, you'll be learning a lot more of it just by using it. And it's free to use, just like a lot of other things that I'm going to be reviewing on this channel. So let's get into it. So first, we're going to load up the test game, and this is just a page for the DM, just to either set a picture for your game, set up a description of the game, stuff like that, so on and so forth. I'm not really going to customize this at all, considering this is just for reviewing purposes. And you can post topics to the people who will be playing in said game. So let's get into it. You'll launch the game, and it'll start to load up a game board. Basic white game board, and it is really big. And depending on how blind you are, just saying, there is a magnifying glass, which will either zoom in really far. Keep in mind that each of these squares is about 5 feet. There are a lot of different tools that you have access to. More tools will be accessed by the DM, since they have to manage most of the stuff here. But you still have a lot of things as a player. So, there's a dice roller for just doing dice rolls. But if anything, there's a lot of other ones like this. There is a distance calculator showing you that this square to this square is about 5 feet. 10 feet, 15 feet, 35 feet, so on and so forth. But more importantly, let's zoom out a bit, because staring at that for a while does tend to hurt a little bit, but that's why you make backgrounds and stuff like that for the game. So one of the main things here that's very useful, aside from over here, which keeps track of what you rolled on a die. There are many different dice you can roll. This is 1d4, 2d4, 3d4, 4d4, so on and so forth. Then there are advanced dice rollers, where you can specifically choose a type of die that you want to roll, how many of the die, and if you have a modifier on it. So let's say we're rolling for initiative, right? I'll do +4 to initiative. Roll that. And we will see that, oh god, we will see that I am horrible at rolling for initiative. But it'll keep track of a lot of things over here. This is a chat menu. You can type random stuff in, or you can whisper people in here if you want to talk to them specifically and not want other people to see it. Or you can specifically whisper the GM if you need to ask them a question. and you don't want other people in your party to know about it, whether you're going to be a thief or an evil person in the party and you want to steal from the party or ask if you're allowed to do something, you can specifically ask the person who's running the game what their thoughts on it, or if they're allowed to do it, so on and so forth. But this, like I said before, gets a lot more in depth based off who is running the game. So over here, one of the options that a GM has access to is assets. What these are is, think of it as backgrounds and stuff like that, but not only that, it is game pieces. This is obscenely great. So there are long lists varying from just about everything you could want, ranging from kobolds, and you can just place them on the board. Now, this is really cool because you can select them and move them around. These are basically game pieces without having to buy them at a store. Up here are things that you can set on them, such as modifiers or anything like that, whether they have a debuff on them or anything. And then there are also statuses. You can set that they have statuses on them. Maybe they are... what? Maybe they got hit by a net. There's a net thing here. There are so many statuses that you can put on things. There's radioactive. There's everything that I feel you would ever need, and you can put on more than one, so it keeps track of everything. Then there are settings for other things that you may need to set up. So you can set that this can be controlled by a person. So this means a DM can set up a token and give control over it to one of the people playing in this game, so they can all have their own character pieces. This helps with them managing their characters. This is another thing that's really nice because it helps you get more in depth into the game. Then there's advanced options. You can get a lot of different options for these. You get more whenever you buy certain things, but by no means do you have to buy things. If anything, you can get really, really in-depth with this. There is maps and backgrounds, where your DM can find, whatchamacallit. So, this is just a list of all the stuff, if there were more things, just what is currently on the board, so they can quickly get rid of something if need be. You can create a new page if you want to have just swapping from scene to scene seamlessly and effortlessly. If you want to set up things before the next session, you can just easily swap to it, or have multiple things planned for what you want your party to go through. Or maybe you'll have different encounters set up depending on what they do. So now, instead of having to set up each piece individually every time that they go through an encounter or something like that, you can just have them set up beforehand. If you're going through like a specific storyline that you already set up. But like I said, there's not a lot that I'm going to be able to show, because a lot of this changes depending on, one, who's running the game, two, what you're doing, and three, how everybody is acting about it. So another thing that they can do is there is whatchamacallit. There's Fog of War. Fog of War is amazing. What this does is this basically blinds your players. Why this is so good and why I love it, and one of the main problems that a lot of people have, well, not a lot of players like have an actual problem with it, it's just the concept of playing a D&D game, right? And you have the pieces on a table. You can obviously see the whole table. You can see your piece and you can see everyone else's piece. It's the same problem of if you're talking to someone across the table, you hear them. Maybe your character in-game doesn't hear them, but you just heard them in real life, which is, whether you like it or not, going to affect what you choose to do. What this does is it stops that. This makes everybody be able to manage their stuff how they should. This is how a D&D session should be played. Because now, if you're going to do something, you won't have a party member who maybe you're playing an evil character and someone on your team is a paladin or something like that. They are very good and always want to help everyone. But you're an evil person and want to steal from everyone and maybe murder a couple people. If you choose to murder something and they weren't there, they're going to talk to you anyway. Like, I'm a good person, I can't let you do that. But on here, they won't know that you're doing that. You can play how you want to play. Well, you can play however your DM allows you to play. But what this does is it stops people from butting in on other people's things that they aren't a part of. And it stops things like if one character, say, rolls a nature check on some random fruit that you found and finds out, like if you were playing in real life, and finds out that this fruit has a chance to kill you whenever you eat it. You know that because you rolled good on your nature check. But even though you rolled good on your nature check, your DM has to tell you. But because he told you, maybe someone sitting next to you at the table rolled horrible on their nature check, so they didn't know that. And their character's not supposed to know that, but because they heard the DM say it, they're like, okay, I know it too. And that was one thing that a lot of people have problems with. And I understand it's a very small thing to do that, but it kind of ruins a lot of, like, the make or break things when rolling, because some people will roll bad and still get the benefit of someone else rolling good. And I'm not opposed to benefits to the party or anything like that. It's just there's a lot of, like, players grinding up against each other whenever they're trying to do things. And I'm not saying that everyone should go off and do their own thing. This just gives them the ability to play kind of how they want their character to be played. Now, people can give, what is it? Whatchamacallit? In this Fog of War, let's see, where is... I know it's here somewhere, but I can't remember how to access it. I think it's up here? Yes, okay, my bad. So, what this does is, whenever you have Fog of War up and going, what this does is it will, it'll stop people from being able to see. Now, you can choose that somebody is able to have, say, a vision range or something like that. So you can set up a ring around them. So let's see. So, reveal areas. So yes, you can slowly uncover the Fog of War depending on where they explored. So say this person, they went like over here or something like that. Say they walked down a hallway or something like that. This character, now, obviously since their character went there, they revealed this area because they walked there. So now they get to see what is over here. So you could have things hidden around the map that people can't see unless they walk to it. And you, if your DM gets in depth, you could say, okay, it's really dark, you can't see a thing, you're in like a cave or something like that, and none of you have a light source. Your character can, say this character right here, can probably see about 5 feet in all directions. Each of these squares is 5 feet. So if he sees 5 feet in all directions, he gets to see these 3 squares and these squares. And he can't tell if there is a treasure chest, like, let's say, like, over here. He doesn't know that there's treasure here because he can't see it. Maybe he chooses to walk down this hallway over here. So he's just walking away from this treasure that he doesn't know exists. And I think this is one of the cooler things about D&D this way, because it stops people from gunning straight for something that is hidden in, air quotes, plain sight. It is there, it is right next to them, but maybe they can't quite see it. And because it's not physically, like, on a board in front of them, that somebody can't just throw a blanket over and cut holes in the blanket, this allows you to really mess around with how you plan maps. Now, I don't have any custom maps offhand or anything like that, but you can set up backgrounds instead of just having these white squares. And not only that, if you have a person with good drawing or anything like that, you can draw things. Let's say you just want an outline of, say you're going into, like, some ruins or something like that. And let's say there's a gate right here. It's a little bit open, probably, like, to the middle of the square. And this gate is the entrance to the ruins. This is the only entrance. Let's say the ruins extend to about here. And don't mind my penmanship, it's hard to draw with a mouse. Well, at least for me. Let's say these ruins extend like this and connect to this door. There are no doors anywhere else, and this is the only entrance to these ruins. So maybe if this person is exploring and he's like, okay, I went over here, there's nothing over here, let's start going maybe this way. So he starts to go down here, and he starts to see everything in this, because you can see in 5 feet in all directions, still not seeing this treasure over here. And eventually he makes his way to this wall here. He sees, okay, there's a wall here. You can tell that it's not like the cave, because you're obviously going to know that, like, it's going to look like a stone wall if your DM wants it to be that way. Like, obviously, like, handmade or carved or something like that. But your DM, like I said, this will change depending on how your DM acts. But even though he sees this wall, he'll be like, okay, yeah, I see this wall. Which way do I want to travel? Like, okay, so I see it, like, extends this way. He can't tell that the corner's right here. Except for my garbage drawing, which probably tells him that the corner's here just because I did this. You can do other ways of drawing too. Like, you can draw a perfect square. So that probably would have been better to do that, so then you have a perfect square of, like, an outline of the area. But if you didn't have garbage drawing like me, this would probably look a lot better if you have somebody who's like that. But so he came here, and he doesn't know that this is the corner. Maybe he goes up this way. Maybe he's just following the wall until he sees something. Oh, look, he finally found this treasure that was just 10 feet from where he started in the first place. So he has this treasure now, good for him. And he's like, okay, I looted. I'm just going to keep following the wall. So he follows this wall. And he's probably going to keep following it all the way around until he makes it all the way down here. And he's like, okay, it's looping back around. But maybe he makes it to about here, and then he realizes, okay, there's a door here now. So he has this area all uncovered. So now he knows that there's this house or ruins or something like that that he has now found the entrance to. And because he went all the way around it, he now knows this is the only entrance. Maybe he'll want to explore more this way, or maybe he'll want to risk going into these ruins alone, whether there are traps or enemies lying in wait in here. You never know. It's just one of those other things that you can do with this, actually having the ability to just hide things from the players, because people take for granted the knowledge they have. One of the most powerful things in any game is 1, creativity, and 2, knowledge. Knowledge is the most powerful thing you can ever have in D&D. Because the more you know, the more you can kind of equate to and you can plan around things. This is very important. But, like I said before, you're going to figure out more just by testing and playing with people than I could ever tell you here. Because, again, it changes from person to person. But messing around with everything, you can make some really great things. I haven't played a lot with this, and even though I say I haven't played a lot, I've played over 17 hours worth of playtime of campaigns on here. And I've only done one campaign on here so far, but me and the people who are doing that campaign have been loving it. It's been such a good experience being able to have people who can do their own things and you aren't like rubbing up against each other 24/7. It's cool to be able to feel like you each did your own thing, because if one person finds something in a normal game, you feel like everyone found it, and then you don't really have that sense of accomplishment. On here, where each person can go and find their own stuff, you feel so much more accomplished for finding something or doing something. Now, it may be dangerous to stray off alone, but this allows a DM to kind of put you in a position where, let's say, you got knocked out or drugged or something like that, and all of the characters in this party are placed at different areas in this dungeon. You all have to start from different areas in this zone without knowing where your friends are. So we can say one person's probably like up here, maybe another person's pretty close to them, they're about here, but maybe these other two people are like all the way down here and up here. It could be four corners, it could be somewhere down here. There is so much you can do with this website in terms of just playing the game and making it that much better. And this, you can get big game boards. Like, this is just a tiny piece. You can get game boards that go all the way out to here. Like, this thing is huge. It is amazing. You can set up so much stuff. And then there's also the super zoomed in for people who just can't see. But I like to keep it to about a mid-range so I can see just about everything I would want to see if I can see it. But yeah, this is just the main thing this website is used for, is to just act as the table that you can't have all the people at. If you have friends that are not in the same state or country or live like 6 hours away or something like that, and you can't all just get together at some point, use this. It helps you play it more, and it's enjoyable and fun. It is a great thing, and I would recommend it hands down. It is very useful. And I would have to say that it just raises the fun factor of a campaign just through the roof because of the ability to do your own thing. Now, another thing that is cool about this website is, say you don't have people who you talk with who enjoy D&D. Maybe you're the only one of you who likes D&D at all. If you're here, you can just, at the home page, you can either go to the community or join a game, where you just randomly look through the lists of active games that aren't private, and you can join on a game. You can make new friends. You can find new people. Maybe you looked at some of the campaigns and you read a description that you really enjoyed. Maybe it was steampunk themed or something. Like, there's stuff that spreads from everything. People are really creative. So you can find a whole bunch of new friends just by playing this in general, strolling through the community. If anything, I would highly recommend this, and that's about all I can say about Roll20. It is a very, very good website, and if you play D&D and you enjoy it, give it a shot. Even if you can get people at a localized table, try this sometime. You won't regret it. It is very fun. But that's going to be it for now. Thank you everyone who stopped around, watched this video till the end, and I can't wait to see everybody in the next review. I hope this helps you, because it really did help me and my friends in our D&D gaming experience. So, I'll have to see everybody next time. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.